Hello everyone, and welcome back to DSP versus the Internet, episode 47. This is the final part for this week. I hope you've enjoyed. It certainly has been a variety and mix of videos. We're watching one of my own. No, not from 5 years ago. This video, no exaggeration, is probably about 15 years old at this point. Me unboxing a bunch of random stuff that I had in my closet back when I lived in my condo in Connecticut. So let's just quickly look at this. I don't know if we'll watch the whole thing. Let's see if anything interesting's in there.
Use these for a couple of months, they get disgusting. You need to take it off and throw it out and clean off your controller. So I actually at one point bought like 4 of them at the store, and now incidentally I don't see these anymore. So I have like 1 or 2 stockpiled up just in case. You know, my current ones. Here's 100 AV cables for the 360 that I don't need.
Yeah, see, I just saved all this cable shit.
Here's my Nintendo.
Back in the day, just sat around. I like
and this out
shit.
of all the game systems that I have, this is actually my original Nintendo. Meaning this is the one I bought back in the 1980s. It still works, by the way. You can see there is some corrosion on the inside.
I have no idea if it still works anymore. I do still have it, but I don't know if it still works anymore. It probably doesn't at this point, honestly. It's just kind of a nice thing. Maybe one day I'll put a classic console behind me for my setup here. I've never even thought about that. I could bring out the Genesis with the Sega CD and the 32X sticking out of it looking like a fucking giant mushroom. I could maybe put that behind me. It would look pretty stupid, huh? But it would be funny. Something to talk about.
You see the corrosion on the back wall, but all the connectors still work. I've never cleaned this. That's the miraculous story about this. I've never cleaned this thing, never wiped it down, never put anything inside to clean it, and it still fucking works. Like, you could tell when they first made these, they were like tanks. Here you go. Here's the manufacturing sticker, 1985. Nintendo Entertainment System, model NES-001. It's like the original one. Oh, look, customer service and warranty repair. Please call this toll-free number. You think that number still works? What the fuck? Let's figure it out. Let's do a little bit of experimentation.
I called it? I actually called it, huh?
We're gonna call it. What does it say there? 1-800-255-37... Watch it be some fucking sex line. Are you shitting me? It still works.
Choose one of the following options.
Get the fuck out of here! I can't believe the phone number works.
They never changed the number. Look at that.
Repair, advanced replacement, or part order, press 1. For help with any Wii-related issue, press 2.
Huh.
For help with any...
So there's the dating. They think the newest console is the Wii. So the phone line says, oh, for a Wii-related issue. So that dates the video. Probably about 15 years old, right? There you go.
Nintendo DS system, including the new Nintendo DSi, press 3.
Well, I want to know about my Nintendo.
Any other Nintendo...
Including the new Nintendo DSi. So when did that come out? There you go. That'll perfectly date it. When the Nintendo DSi came out, that's when I got these videos from.
4.
Let's press 4, see what happens.
Power for help with Nintendo GameCube games and systems, press 1.
No.
For Game Boy games and systems, including the Game Boy Micro, press 2.
No.
For Nintendo 64, Super Nintendo...
It was 2008? Damn, so this video's from 2008? Holy shit.
Or the original Nintendo system, press 3. For repair options for the Nintendo 64,
Get the fuck out of here.
Nintendo, or Nintendo Entertainment System, press 1.
Holy shit.
For operational assistance with an original...
Let's press 1.
Due to the age of the Nintendo Entertainment System, Super Nintendo, and Nintendo 64, and the limited availability of parts, we no longer provide factory service. Following options you may want to consider instead. You may be able to purchase a used or refurbished replacement system.
Buy another one?
Information on finding used games and systems.
Fuck no.
Press 1. If you have a high-speed internet connection at home along with a Wii console, you can download mini games released originally for the Nintendo...
Only if you have a Wii console.
Super Nintendo and Nintendo...
That's interesting. Is that it? Is that all they do? The whole thing is this support? Alright, let's go back to the bin.
Instead of the red ring of bullshit. Alright. So that was fun. Here's my old...
Now, you know what? This can't be 2008. I bought the condo in 2009. This has to be 2009. Because I bought and moved in mid-2009. So it has to be summer of 2009 or on, this video.
Camera. This is the camera that I was using in 2008 to make all my playthroughs
Yeah,
in
guys,
early 2000.
that's it. That's my original camera that I used for the oldest content. And I used that for about a year, and then I went widescreen, so...
2009. I stopped using it when I played Resident Evil 5 back earlier this year, because that's when I bought...
Alright, that's it. It's definitely 2009 now. There you go.
widescreen camera. I really didn't like that camera too much. It worked, it was widescreen, but the quality was a little bit fuzzy, and that's when I went out and bought the HD camera that I use today. So this is my original digital camera. Oh my god, I have so many fucking wires. Oh my god, this is a nightmare. How am I ever going to figure out what anything is? How am I ever going to find a power adapter for my PSP? I have no clue. Oh, I found a box for Crisis Core.
Look, it's the original.
So
Oh my god, it's the original Crisis Core. I told you guys I had it for PSP. That's the original Crisis Core. And now I have it for Switch, and we never played it. But there you go.
The game away now. That's good.
Wow.
Hey, look. It's Brain Age 2.
I liked those Brain Age games. I played them a
These are
lot
some pretty
back
good
then.
mini games for Nintendo DS.
I had like 2 or 3 of them.
Uh-oh, all right. We got some games now. What do we got? We've got Chuck Rock for Sega CD.
I don't have these anymore. What happened to these games?
Oh, shit. We've got Sewer Shark for Sega CD,
Yeah, I don't
which
have
is an
any of these,
atrociously
do I?
bad game. There's a contrast for you right there. I got this fucking warning label from the 360. Why do I have that? Oh, yeah. Fucking NBA Jam.
What happened to all these games? I must have given them all away. I had to have. I must have. When I moved, I probably gave a lot of my shit away. And I would be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. Like, probably Rambo got a lot of this stuff if he wanted it. He probably picked out what he wanted from my stuff, and I was like, here, just take it, because what am I going to do? I'm not going to move across the country and house all this shit. And that's probably what happened. He took a bunch, and other people took stuff, and what I have here is the leftovers in the closet.
TE, baby, for the 32X. The best fucking console version of NBA Jam, of that, you know, of that era anyway. This game was awesome. There were so many unlockable characters, so many secrets. All the, you know, the graphics were upped, even though, to be completely honest, the graphics still weren't as good as the arcade. I don't know why they could never get it as good as the arcade when they're supposed to be fucking 32 bits. Up to 4 players, which was awesome. 120 NBA start. This game is amazing. Like, boom, shot.
That's why I don't have it anymore. What happened to that?
Ah, here's the,
I must have traded in all my PSP stuff at one point, because I don't have anything anymore. Alright, let's keep going. What's next? Fail blog.
I'm just going to take this and kind of freeform it and put it on a baking sheet. Now, whenever you're working with raw meat, you got to wash your hands. I just want to put my 2 tablespoons of ketchup right on the top.
Is this supposed to be like
Stick
meatloaf?
with line, that's it. It is a beautiful thing. Look at that.
Ahem. I think she got a few ratios off there. No, first of all, you cannot cook meatloaf on a pan. That's wrong. Meatloaf has to be in almost like a bread pan to hold it in place so it keeps the loaf shape. And so when you cut it, first of all, it holds all the moisture in by being in that style of pan. But that having all the moisture cooked out and went. So now you've got dry meatloaf with all the moisture that's left it. Like, she completely cooked it wrong. That's not how you make meatloaf. That's disgusting.
Why do we all need constant stimulation? All day, forever. We scroll through Twitter while we watch TV. We listen to podcasts while we work on our computers. There are even TikToks that are split screen videos, so you can watch a TikTok while you watch a TikTok. It's crazy. I wish I could say I was above this stuff, but definitely not. I engage as much as anyone, probably more. So when I say we, I do mean we. So how did we get here? Why can't we experience a moment of silence without being overwhelmed by anxiety? Why do we always need to be watching or listening to something?
Well, here's the thing. That's not necessarily 100% true, because today I can actually enjoy like a moment of silence or a moment of just relaxing, or if I'm just doing something with my wife, I can just do that. You know what I mean? But it's true. A lot of the times you want to multitask, you know? Oh, I'm watching something with Kat on TV, but I open my phone to check comments on videos and improve while I'm doing that, and I'm reading emails as well. And then it's true. The multitask thing is definitely a thing that happens all the time. And I think it's because that's what society led us to. Whether it's YouTube, whether it's your cellular phone, whatever it is, right? we've kind of been pushed into this. That now, this is now your life, is that you always are doing 10 things at once, right?
The whole dopamine hit thing is the quickest explanation and one that you may be thinking of right now. Before I started making this video, I assumed it to be true, but turns out, while still relevant, the idea of a quick dopamine fix is kind of a myth, and we'll get into that and a whole lot more. See, the truth has to do with a misunderstanding about dopamine, decreasing attention spans, and a huge failed promise. And if things are difficult now, where are we going with all of this? Can new forms of stimulation just keep appearing forever to compete for our attention? There are a lot of pieces to put together, but that's exactly what we're going to do. Common knowledge dictates that we want constant stimulation because we're seeking quick hits of dopamine. We're all addicted to this so-called pleasure chemical, and every time we find a funny video or an arousing image, we get our fix. Then we go back for more and more and more and more until infinity. This idea ties dopamine and self-improvement up in a nice little clickable package. Influencers and whoever can tell you that the key to improving happiness is by resetting your dopamine. That's simple, that's easy, but it's not totally true. Truth is more complicated. Dopamine is not released as a pleasure chemical. Dopamine is fired off before the pleasure is experienced as an anticipation chemical. The reward is not really relevant to dopamine release. Evolutionarily, this is intended to help with a try again mentality. If you're hunting and you miss your quarry, dopamine ensures that the attempt itself encourages you to try again. Scientifically, near misses actually produce even more dopamine than getting your desired result. Say you got $5 every time you pressed a button.
So I was just gonna say, so it's basically an addiction chemical, correct? It is. If you would get addicted to that, because even if you try and you fail, you still feel good about the try, and therefore you want to keep trying. So this is where the root of all addiction comes from.
Anticipation of each $5 reward would release dopamine. But then imagine if the button started giving you $100 for each press. You would get even more dopamine for a little while before eventually declining back down to the $5 dopamine level, despite still getting $100 on each press. At that point, if the button switched back to $5 bills, your dopamine levels would decline even further to a place below that original $5 level. If dopamine was a pleasure chemical, you would get X amount of dopamine for the $5, then more for the $100, then right back down to X for the $5. But that's not what happens. The $5 button loses its ability to create dopamine as it becomes your new baseline. This shows that dopamine is not tied to the intrinsic value of the reward, but the difference between your reward and your default state.
Makes a lot of sense. If your default state is elevated, now it's not a reward anymore to go back to the default state, correct? You're always chasing the next high, the next improvement, the next big thing that you'll get out of it. And that's probably for food, drugs, booze, any kind of gambling addiction, sex addiction, even owning things, belongings. Yeah, for sure. That's actually a really good way to explain it. Interesting.
$5 is only nice, basically until you have $5. So think about taking a walk. A walk provides a reward compared to our baseline of staying inside. It used to, anyways. Just walking outside in nature, alone in silence, was great for a while.
Right.
But then we were offered a podcast we could listen to while we took our walk.
Right.
That's even better. So we did that until that got boring. But then we could scroll through TikTok while we listen to a podcast while we take a walk. That's amazing. But now taking a walk, maybe our $5 button, is shockingly boring. Unfortunately, this has no end. The human brain is not wired to find satisfaction. Because of our dopamine systems, as we consume more, we actually desire more. It's perhaps one of our most fatal flaws. So eventually we have to be constantly stimulated because we've had our $5 and then our $100 and then our $1,000. And now that $5, whether it's taking a walk, sitting in a park, cooking breakfast, or whatever, it's just not enough.
So here's the thing. I get it. And this has been made possible by technology advancement. Because if you think about it, old school humans, right? What did you really have to look forward to or think about all day? The basics of survival. How am I going to get up out of my bed? How am I going to make a living today? Whether that means you till the earth and you're a farmer, or you're raising livestock, or you're a blacksmith, whatever it is, right? To make that toil so that you can keep yourself employed and or making money, or making your own resources to stay alive. Then you got to worry about putting food on the table, creating meals for you and your family, health, things like that. You know, if you have kids, raising the kids, taking care of your wife or significant other, whoever it may be. Like, this was your day. There was no giant dopamine hit, because all you had time to do was worry about self-preservation. Like, that was it. That was your life. The dopamine hit would be, oh, at the end of the night, you get to spend time with your family for a half an hour and have family time before you go back to sleep, right? Like, that was your dopamine hit for the day, what you look forward to. But now what's happened is everything's become so easy, so simple, so at your fingertips. Do we really even worry about any of that shit? Do you worry about where your food comes from? No, you just go buy it, or even so, you order off the internet, right? So you don't have any of that. So now your day, outside of whatever you do for work, which is what you do to make money, the rest of your day is, so what do I do with all this time that I'm now free to do? So now I'm free to figure out where I'm going to get my dopamine hits from, right? So now what is it? I've got to watch some TV, listen to some music, go on YouTube, watch a TikTok, do this, do that. And now people's lives have become this ever-escalating situation where you're just searching for the next big thrill or hit or whatever, right? It seems like that's what they're getting at here. Back when people, before we had ease of life like we do today, there was no way that you would ever get stuck in this rut. I mean, yeah, there were some people who would become like an alcoholic or something. But for most people, that would never be a concern. You never get that level of ease of life that you could even get a dopamine addiction. But now it's like everyone's life is so easy because of technology. It's so simple to get a dopamine addiction, right? It sure seems that way.
So how do we fix it? Well, that's complicated.
All right.
Because to fix the problem, we need a full picture of the diagnosis.
So now all society is like this.
Dopamine alone is helpful, but does not give us this full picture. Our attention spans are getting demonstrably shorter. Anecdotally, I think we could all probably agree with this. But there have been numerous studies that prove this phenomenon more scientifically. Indeed, our attention spans have gotten shorter as the amount of information in the world has grown. We only have so much real estate available in our minds, but now there are endless acres of information to consume.
Again, as technology advanced, and as everything became at your fingertips. So now knowledge of an infinite amount of stuff is on the internet, right? So now you don't have to worry about any of that. You don't have to have a real hard work to get to that information. It's just readily available. And like he said, there's only so much real estate in your brain. How much are you going to learn, right? So back then, again, before all this was available, it was like, so you have to just learn the basics to survive. Then you learn the basics of maybe a job or a skill. And then the basics of, having a family and raising and being health and protection and things like that. That was it. That was your brain. If you had time to read a book, if you had time to go on a nature walk, or that was your dopamine hit, and that was your real estate expansion of your brain. If you're lucky enough to have that in your life. Today, again, with ease of use of everything, just sitting around all day, I have time to infinitely just go on the internet and look for stuff. But if everything is already there instantly, why bother learning anything, right? Like right now, if I didn't even understand the concept of batteries and this controller stopped working, I could probably find a video on the internet to explain this is how you open a controller, right? To put new batteries in it. It would probably be like, oh, step 1, do this. Step 2, pull down on here. And step 3, do that. It would literally, here you go. It would probably just say how to open it, how to get the batteries out of it, how to recognize the kind of battery that's in there and order more. Like, all that's online. So you don't even need that information. So your brain has no attention span because there's no reason for your brain to ever have an attention span because you don't need to have it because everything's instantly answerable for you. So by making everything so easy, we ruined our minds and lives. Isn't that great? Right. Darcy just said, why ever learn math? Just use a calculator. Right. It's crazy. All right, I think, see, this is a long video. I want to watch one or two more before we adjourn for the week, but I totally get it. Content addiction is a direct result of technology advancement, and it's turned our lives into a weird, endless cycle, right? This guy's correct. How do you fix it? I don't think you do. I don't think you can, because this is where society is gone, right? If anything, what I would say is, every day, make it so that a portion of your day, you don't have unlimited access to everything. Take your phone and put it aside like this, right? No longer will I have access to this phone, right? And that way, you won't have unlimited stuff in your face and just have more relaxing time, more human time, as opposed to why everything is a fucking robot maneuver, right? I don't know.
If you're a regular viewer of this channel, you probably have aspirations to do well in life. However, to do that, you need to separate yourself from the crowd. After all, if you do what 99% of people do, you will just get the same results as 99% of people.
I don't think anyone's going to argue that my life is the same as 99% of people. If anything, I think we can definitely say my life's a little bit different than that.
But if you want to be in the top 1%, you have to do things a little differently. And there's a skill I'm going to share with you that absolutely needs to be developed and mastered in order to achieve that. First, we need to go back to the year 1970, where a Stanford professor named Walter Mischel conducted one of the most famous psychological studies. Through this experiment, Mischel and his team stumbled upon what I believe is one of the most important factors required to achieve success in any life domain, whether it's related to health, money, work, or relationships. This one factor is what separates the successful from the average Joe. The experiment went like this. The researchers enrolled children aged between 4 and 5 years old and sat them down individually in a private room.
Okay.
Then a marshmallow was presented and placed in front of each child.
Okay.
The researcher told the child that she's going to briefly leave the room, but that she'll be back soon. But before she left, she gave the child a choice. She told them,
"You can eat the marshmallow now, or if you don't eat it until I come back, you can have another one."
The researcher then left the room and made the child wait for roughly 15 minutes. It was a seemingly simple choice to make. 1 marshmallow right away, or 2 marshmallows later. But when you're 5 years old, this is equal to torture. Many children ate the marshmallow the moment the researcher left the room. Others resisted for a while, bouncing in their chair, trying to restrain themselves, but eventually gave in to the temptation just minutes later. However, a select few managed to wait for the whole 15 minutes, and they were able to enjoy 2 marshmallows once the researcher returned. This experiment was later known as the marshmallow test.
The marshmallow
but this
test.
isn't where it ended. The interesting part came years later. As the children grew up, the researchers followed up on them to see where they ended up. They tracked them for over 40 years, and the results were fascinating.
Huh.
The children who were willing to wait for the whole 15 minutes instead of giving into their temptations right away ended up having higher grades, were less likely to abuse drugs, were healthier and less likely to become obese, had better social skills, and performed better in a multitude of other life areas.
No, so you're telling me that having a more intelligent cognitive dissonance, that you can tell the difference between 2 and 1, and also the fact that you have a tiny piece of discipline, right? So discipline and intelligence leads to a better life. Wow, that was a remarkable experiment. I totally couldn't have figured that one out on myself. Right? As opposed to just literally just living on impulse. Well, there's a marshmallow there. Fuck it. Home. Right? There you go. I don't really understand the point of what we're talking about here. So 99% of people ruin their life because they don't have any discipline or intelligence. There you go. I guess that makes sense. Let's fast forward a bit.
However, all of this does still require some discipline or self-negotiation.
I literally just fast forward and the first thing he says is discipline and self-negotiation. Literally the first statement out of his mouth. We could just go to the next video. We could just go to the next video. There we go.
Yo, I'm the big guy Ryback, and this is WWE in the showers. A lot of the hardcore marks, not the good.
You know what's funny? Is that Ryback now is no one likes him. He was basically excommunicated from the wrestling community, and he says he doesn't want to be called Ryback because that was the name WWE gave him, and he hates them now because he doesn't work for them anymore. but now he makes videos that are titled Ryback. Pretty weird. Anyway.
Good WWE fans, the really pathetic hardcore marks, don't seem to understand that WWE superstars are normal human beings just like everybody else on the planet. They poop, they pee, they shave, they get smelly. And after WWE performances, whether it's live events or TVs, they in fact do have to shower like everybody else. WWE runs in all sorts of different arenas all around the world. Some arenas are state of the art, and some are a little lower tier, a lot older. Depends.
Did he? He won the legal rights to use Ryback? I did not know that. I thought that he was upset because WWE had the rights. I guess maybe you're saying he won a legal battle. Oh, I did not even know that. Okay.
On the city, how big or small it is, and what kind of show that the WWE is running. But all of the arenas have locker rooms and showers. Some arenas have more private showers, and other arenas have more open showers, kind of like a football locker room or a high school locker room with the big open setting. Some even have older bathrooms. The older arenas have a circular type shower device where you're almost all the men and women are almost like a football huddle in a little group circle using these community showers.
What the hell? That's weird.
Going out to the ring and performing, men and women sweat a lot of oil, a lot of dirt from the ring canvas from the matches prior with that. So you have to shower, especially if you've got a 3 to 5 hour drive going from live event to live event, or you have a television taping and you need to make the drive after that, or you're going to go out to eat. The last thing you want is to just be just absolutely disgusting. It's not uncommon to see two people who are in a heated feud having a shower right next to each other. Hey, brother, can you pass me the soap? And when you walk into a WWE locker room, into the shower area, you never know what you're going to see. I mean, I've seen other men shaving each other's backs, kind of like this picture, not uncommon. I've seen a WWE producer go to use the showers in the locker room, and where it was filled, there was a special segment where many little people were involved, in which they were all in the shower together, and the WWE producer goes, "Oh, hell no," and went and found a different shower. And you never know the showers. Sometimes it's like a 1 versus 1, only a couple people. Sometimes it's like a tornado tag match, and other times it's like an all-out free-for-all battle Royal Rumble type scenario on those things. But let me know down in the comments what you guys think about all of this, and let me know what you...
I mean, that wasn't very exciting. No wonder he only has 8,000 views on his video. That wasn't very interesting at all. It was pretty boring. I thought he was going to tell a story or something interesting. There was nothing interesting there at all. All right.
Che cosa mangiano gli italiani a colazione?
What do they have for breakfast?
In questa puntata di Super
What
Easy
do Italians
Italian
eat for breakfast?
chiediamo agli italiani che cosa mangiano la mattina.
Obviously, it's full
Andiamo.
pasta dinner they have for breakfast, right? Let's find out. Learning Italian from the streets. Well, I can do 2 things. I guess we'll see.
Che cosa mangia a colazione?
A colazione bevo il caffè e mangio una
Coffee and a
merendina
sweet
tipo
snack,
plum cake.
like a sponge cake.
Che cosa mangia a colazione?
Latte e cereali.
Milk and cereal, basic.
E basta, questo.
Stamattina latte e cereali, ma quando vado al lavoro, al bar, prendo brioche e
Croissant
caffè.
and a coffee. So they're into like baked goods, apparently.
Yogurt, caffè.
Yogurt, coffee, and a croissant.
E che cosa mangia di solito a colazione?
Caffè latte.
Cafe latte, cappuccino, brioche, panettone, cake. So all they all eat baked goods with a coffee.
Brioche.
That's all they eat, baked goods and a
Panettone.
coffee. Which is hilarious. That's what I have a bagel with a little bit of cream cheese and coffee every morning. So I eat the real Italian breakfast. I wonder why. Because I come from Italian heritage and I know what's right. You do as the
E
Italians
questa è una
do,
colazione
right?
tipicamente
There you go.
italiana?
Direi di sì, perché non siamo abituati alla mattina a mangiare
Yeah, see, not used to eating a
tantissimo.
lot in the morning, so we wouldn't
Di
eat
solito
bacon.
non
Yeah,
prendiamo
exactly.
bacon,
We
uova
eat bacon,
per
eggs, those
quelli,
kind of things,
ecco.
right? It's rare when I have like a heavy breakfast with bacon and eggs or anything like that. I would usually just have a light breakfast. That's correct.
Anche solo il caffè.
There you go.
Caffè, latte, cappuccino e brioche, così.
E cosa mangi a colazione?
Allora, mangio caffè, latte, biscotti.
Caffè latte with the biscotti.
E durante il weekend mangi qualcosa di diverso?
Ogni tanto la pizza.
Pizza?
Come gli inglesi, anch'io.
Pizza? That's ridiculous.
Di solito a colazione gli italiani mangiano relativamente poco. È sempre dolce.
Oh, see, I don't eat sweet. I don't eat sweet. My coffee's black, and my bagel is, you know, it's like a savory bagel with like cream cheese on it or something. Nothing sweet. I don't like sweet in the morning.
Quindi cose come biscotti,
Biscuits, croissants, and the South they're called cornetti.
che al sud si chiamano cornetti, al nord si chiamano
They call them
brioche,
brioche. Ah.
e non manca mai il caffè. L'espresso, che in Italia è il caffè normale,
Okay, so espresso is
quindi
normal
si
coffee,
chiama
or
semplicemente
caffè.
il caffè macchiato, il
Okay.
latte macchiato o il cappuccino.
I don't know the difference between regular coffee and cappuccino. What the hell is it? I don't actually have no clue. What do they do to cappuccino that's different? Is it brewed differently or something? I don't even know the answer to that. Can't even tell you if I've ever had a cappuccino in my life.
E voi che cosa mangiate a
Cappuccino has some milk. Is that true?
colazione? Lasciateci un commento.
All right, that's it. So yeah, that's crazy. I actually eat a typical Oh, cappuccino is made with a steamed milk. A steamed milk. Wow. I don't think I've ever had one. If I had one, it's probably been like part of something else, you know, or like I got it somewhere when I was out. I would never have that at home. I don't know how to steam milk. Wow. All right, well, that's it for DSP versus the internet this week. I want to say thank you to everyone who chilled with me here. Anyone who supported the stream, thanks. For those who are new members, because we got a few new members this week, remember, the nominations threads will be going live likely later tonight here on the main channel page of this channel. So keep your eyes peeled for those. And a good show. Now, in line with what was actually asked by a super member earlier, people like, well, what are the better videos? Hey, variety is good. Timeliness, if there's something going on right now in the world, if there's something going on holiday-wise, or something at this date, that always makes sense. And, you know, you've seen the kind of videos I like. The less stupid, over-the-top, nonsensical, memeing, garbage videos. No fake video. Oh, I'm going to eat what everyone in line in front of me ordered for me, and I'm going to eat it. It's the biggest challenge ever. It's the challenge video. The challenge videos are the worst videos on YouTube. Don't fucking send them my way. It's hilarious because some of the biggest YouTubers, like I said, Mr. Beast, make that shit. That's trash. That's for idiots. I don't watch that stuff. I'm not interested in it. I'll always just say the same thing. It's trash for idiots. I'm not going to watch it. But educational stuff, right? Stuff that makes you think, or YouTuber stuff so I can understand what these other YouTubers, who they are and where they come from, that kind of stuff. That's interesting. There's a lot of variety of stuff that I have enjoyed over the last year that we've done this show. And now 1 month is the year anniversary of DSP Reacts. Maybe we'll have to think about something we could do for that. I don't know. But anyway, thank you guys so much. Great show today. Hope you enjoyed. See you next week. Same time, same place for DSP versus the internet. But until then, be safe. See you later.